And hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Star Stuff Podcast, where we talk all things Star Wars. My name is Colin,
And I'm Josh.
and there's not that much to talk about this week. And I'm not just setting that up as a joke like I usually do. There really isn't that much that has happened in the past week. But we have been talking a lot on our Patreon. Wow.
Yes.
On our Patreon. Wow. And there's a lot of really interesting stuff on there, including Sabak Talk, which all you love, which we love that you love it. So don't worry, more content is on the way. And then also, and then we have some new unboxing videos coming up, and we've actually had a lot of people sign up for our 66 Kyber Crystal tier, which is super cool because it also includes everything from the other tiers. So that's super exciting. For today's episode, for the news, the main thing to talk about is all the shows that have been nominated for a couple of Emmys. We got Book of
We know
Boba.
what they're nominated for specifically?
No, I don't. But if you keep talking and act like you know what you're talking about, I will go and do the research.
Of course, I would love you to go ahead and come up with the because like if Book of Boba Fett gets nominated, I really want to know what it's going to be for. Yeah. I'm going to assume it's costume design, maybe best score. And I really don't want it to be best supporting actress.
Boba Fett. Dun 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 dun.
Not because I don't think she did a good job, but just like you really wouldn't think it's that amazing.
Okay, here we go. Are you ready? All right. So in the category of outstanding fantasy sci-fi costumes, and then you have in the category of outstanding sound editing for a comedy or drama series. Ooh. And in the category of outstanding special visual effects in a season or a movie, and in the category of outstanding stunt coordination for a drama series, limited and anthology series or movies. So boom, there you go. And then you also got Visions as well. That just one. It was for the outstanding short form animated program. And something I was actually talking to Brooke about, which I'm curious about what your of your opinion is. Do you think that all of these shows on Disney Plus are going to be getting a lot of like more attention, more Emmys and everything because of they have a movie budget? Compared to shows like NCIS and like Suits and like
Well, I think the major turns of like
it's good
turns of people immediately started to switch over is like when we started having HBO specials, like when you had like a whole run of HBO shows. Like I remember Law and Order winning a whole bunch, and then it went to like you had like Sopranos, and then you had like Game of Thrones winning like everything. And I feel like this is, I think it's like Star Wars Disney kind of side of turn where you can start making their big budget TV shows like or a miniseries.
Yeah,
and yeah, definitely like that's gonna be able to win them a lot more awards. Do I think Boba Fett deserves those? I really did like costume design. Costume design went pretty nuts, and I don't think it's even on there.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed the Book of Boba Fett. But something that actually I probably haven't really talked about is I've only watched it once. I've only watched the entire show like all the way through once. And I know like David and like everyone else has watched it through like multiple times, but I only watched it like once. So I feel like if I go back and rewatch it, I'll definitely pick up on new things.
You can kind of like take off your hype filter. Is I feel like we did hype up quite a lot that like, I mean, it is warranted, but we hyped up a lot the fact that Boba was going to do so much that every single episode was a letdown from him not doing as much as we had wanted. And I felt like when you actually do rewatch the series, even with the whole show being called Boba Fett, it's morely just what's happening on Tatooine.
Yeah. I thought all of the different perspectives of Tatooine were super exciting. I loved that we explored more of Mos Espa, and we did explore more of Boba's story. But to me, seeing him in present day, it didn't feel like the character. The only time that I really felt like this is Boba Fett was when he was back in his ship. And he was taking down the gang that slaughtered that he thought like that slaughtered all the other Tusken Raiders. And at that moment that felt like Boba Fett. But then you have the scene where he's fighting Black Chrysanthemum. He gets his ass handed to him, and then he comes down the stairs and
in the robe,
and he's wearing a bathrobe, and he's like, hey, everything good? Cool. I will go in the kitchen and I'll go and make a sandwich. And it's just like, dude, no. That is not.
It is Mason's favorite.
Yeah.
It's Mason's favorite series.
Yeah.
What was something that was okay, so did you see the four of them? So it's like outstanding fantasy and sci-fi costumes. And I'm like, I want to know who else was in that category, because I feel like of course they would win. I can't really think of anyone other ones right now.
So something that I'm thinking about is the Rings of Power when it comes out next year.
Oh, yeah.
No. Of when it comes out this year, and then they have the Emmys. Think about how many Oscars that that Return of the King won, but imagine how many Emmys that the Rings of Power is going to be if the story is good and just all of it like all together, because that is the highest budget series that has ever been made. So I'm hoping, and from the new trailer that we saw, like it's gonna be crazy. And they're also gonna have the Mando next year, Ahsoka next year. All of these shows on Disney Plus will be competing with themselves, because not only that, they also had a couple of the Marvel shows.
Loki's on there.
Yep, Loki, Moon Knight, Stranger Things won 13
already.
Yep.
Jeez.
Yeah. I mean, sorry, no, they did not win 13. They were nominated for 13. Sorry.
Nominated for 13. Okay.
But yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I would have thought that most of it's going to be. Yeah, most of this is going Disney's way, like currently for like all the shows that are nominated right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll.
Yeah, outstanding sci-fi, fantasy and sci-fi costumes. Book of Boba Fett. They also have Loki, Moon Knight, Star Trek Picard, What We Do in the Shadows, and The Witcher.
Yeah.
And out of all of those, what would you pick? Because honestly, if we're talking about design wise, costume wise, I do really like Boba Fett's side. Sci-fi and fantasy costumes, I would say that overall, I think Book of Boba Fett has it, because there's just so much substance in that. But I would say that I enjoyed Moon Knight's designs of the two different Moon Knight costumes.
I agree.
If you're talking about overall, in my opinion, it would be the Book of Boba Fett winning that one. Star Trek Picard's ones were pretty good. What We Do in the Shadows was also pretty good. And
I know a lot of people love that show. Have you watched that?
Yep. Well, I mean, I've watched the show. The movie was the original.
Yeah.
I love the movie. Filmed back in New Zealand too.
Yeah. So I'm guessing next year we'll probably get, for Star Wars, we'll definitely get more Emmys. And and I think it will be in competition with Rings of Power because I think that will be like the big competition for next year, because the show will be falling into next year as well. So I don't know.
Mhm.
We'll see. But something that that we haven't talked about of you and I, because I totally forgot that this dropped, was San Diego Comic-Con is having a couple of exclusives, right? And one of them is this.
Oh yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah, of the rescue set. And then there's
It's the Kenner one.
yeah.
Yeah, I really like it. All the flame pieces were really, really cool. Isn't
And
it?
then
Is it $74? I think that one is, or is it?
yeah,
I think that one's $74. And then I saw
you have
the
the
Andor one as
Cassian
well.
one that actually comes with the new droid, and then he will be there as well. He's not San Diego exclusive, because he was actually over at Star Celebration, and he sold out real quick, like real quick, dude.
What do you think about that new droid?
I'm curious of what its purpose is, because for the other droids,
It's a blocky astromech.
yeah,
it's Roblox astromech. Finally,
can it turn itself into a trash can? I mean, like, what's
it reminds me.
I'm
It's
just
like a
curious
Star
what it
Wars. Yeah, it's very blocky. I like it. It's interesting. It's different.
yeah. But yeah, so there's that. Yeah, here we go. Here's our one shot of it. Right there. There you go.
Are we gonna have another Lola situation? I wonder if this is I really like this shot. It's a cool
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah, no. I'm I really am excited for the Andor series because it really is just going to dive deeper into that, into that darker
Would you say that is
time.
the number one thing? Like I would say like that is the number one movie before like yeah, that's the main thing before the Mandalorian that was like the most Star Wars.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
By far. I don't think that movie like makes fans of the original trilogy mad. I haven't seen one fan be like, I did not like that at all.
No, I'm with you. I think I've heard a couple of people like, "Oh, I fell asleep," and I'm like, "And what part?" And they're like, "Oh, like the beginning," and like I didn't get the whole Krennic thing like coming to him, and then his wife died, and I was just like, "Okay," and I was like, "What?" I was like, "Did you not see the rest of it?" And they were like, "No." I was like, "Okay." So not everyone likes it, but most people are going in not open minded. I think Andor will definitely will make people appreciate Rogue One even more. But it's funny because this movie of Rogue One is not like the prequels where people didn't like, people didn't really like the prequels until the Clone Wars came out, is what some people say. And then when they watched the Clone Wars TV show and then they got all the way to the final season, they were like, wow, I appreciate it more because of the Clone Wars made it more meaningful and watchful. And I don't think Andor is doing that. I think Andor is just kind of expanding that story of Rogue One and making you fall in love with the character Cassian and K2SO when it comes into the second season even more.
Yeah, it really is funny how much when I saw that original film, I was like we already all love the original trilogy, but it was just like, yeah, this is enough, and it's giving me enough to where I'm like, gave me really good fond memories of it. And I'm like, wow, it's like if I already know what's gonna happen in our end goal, it's rare for me to be like, wow, that was still worth my time. And I think that's something in Star Wars that's really hard. And it's kind of like, hey, if we know what the end goal is, we need to set up these characters for you to care about in a short amount of time. Because like most people just I like most people I hear like I only care for the Skywalker saga. Like I just want to hear from the beginning, middle, and end of the whole Skywalker saga. 100% okay. Those are your main players in the game. But I feel like because we had such a gap between the prequels And the sequels for the original trilogy fans, everyone started going off and diverging into this EU lore. So like, hey, like let's talk about like TIE fighter pilots. Like we want to talk about like X-wing pilots. We want to talk about all these different things that weren't necessarily the main focus of the original trilogy. But that EU knowledge just went on and on. We had the books and all that kind of stuff. Whereas I feel like Rogue One is like, hey, we know how much you loved that. All you old trilogy fans can come back and like look at this kind of stuff, and it's like, wow, that's amazing. That's lots of fun.
Yeah, no, how do you feel about the Panda Baba cameo in Rogue One, because they were walking through and it was like, it was like, oh, okay, wow, cool. Because of I remember sitting next to someone and they were like, why in the hell are they there?
I was like, it's definitely one of those moments that you're kind of like, okay, that's great. Like these guys are just here now, awesome. But I think, yeah, Star Wars is dumb. Star Wars is just dumb and has funny moments like that. And I appreciate it in the fact of it's funny to have these characters here for no reason other than just to be like, look, I know those guys. That's what I know those guys.
Do you know who you just quoted?
Yes,
Jeff.
I know.
The Talk with Your Mouthful podcast. Wow, there's a plug.
But I thought it was really funny because I was like, that is a great and healthy way of thinking about Star Wars. Is thinking that like dumb things are gonna happen. You can either be mad about the dumb things or just get along with it. And I'm like, I respect Star Wars in the most beautiful way, but yes, you are gonna experience some dumb things. And I think like, yeah, it's stupid that they're there, but at least it's possible.
Oh yeah, because it's not, and this is something we actually talked about on Sabak Talk, is that you can't put logic into Star Wars. Like you just can't do it. And it's something super funny that a lot of people try and do. Speaking of logic, hey Matt.
I do not represent logic in any way, shape, or form. Hello, audience and friends. How are you doing, fellas? How are my favorite people?
Good. We're doing good. We are just talking about how the new Andor series will make fans appreciate Rogue One even more, even though we don't have to really appreciate Rogue One because that movie was already great. And we were comparing it to how some fans watch the Clone Wars and be like, you know what, I appreciate the prequels more because of the Clone Wars TV show.
I think when you add more content on any subject in Star Wars, it kind of opens up the door and spreads the light in.
I agree.
So I think that's a good place to leave off. Why don't you? I mean, I didn't mean to interrupt whatever was going on. But I think Andor has a lot of potential to be. I don't know if it's gonna be like the next Mandalorian, because like that just had like such a good ball run. But I remember like pre-Mandalorian, like no one really gave a crap about like that aspect of Star Wars, other than like maybe Boba Fett. He was the only representation of like a really good bounty hunter, or just the Mandalorians in general.
That's fair. Like we hadn't had anything that wasn't like expanded universe stuff that was like, hey, look, this is because like I think the only thing that we ever had was Boba Fett, like where people were like really grasping onto that kind of thing, and we knew that he was still alive, kind of thing. I mean, as close as you have that for the like the prequel trilogy is going to be like our Darth Maul, I would say.
Yeah,
that's as close as you're going to get.
That's pretty solid. Agree. Yeah. But we've noticed since Disney has taken over Lucasfilm, or not taken over Lucasfilm, but taken over Star Wars, that they're pretty good at creating new content out of old stuff.
Yeah.
Taking the old and making it new.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're really good at that. We've seen it with Mandalorian. We've seen it with the sequel trilogy. I mean, Kathleen Kennedy might have something different to say about like the whole Star Wars stories and like with the Solo, how she embodies that as being a botched project. that didn't get the numbers that they wanted. But this is a streaming service. Everything's different when between film and streaming, and Disney they're like the hallmark like of streaming. They're the ones that kind of like made it mainstream, other than like Netflix. Where I'll give Netflix where credit is due. They are the ones that legitimized streaming services. But Disney just took it to a whole new level, and it's probably just because they have so much more content to play with. And Andor is a point in the timeline in which a lot of the fans of the original trilogy will connect with. It's also a lot of fans of like newer content with like the sequel trilogy and like the prequels that they can kind of also connect to it. It's like a middle ground, and I think that both of them will probably get what they want out of it. But there's no expectations. That's also another thing. Like with Kenobi, we had expectations of Darth Vader showing up. We had expectations of Obi-Wan Kenobi getting to fulfill his destiny as the mentor or overseer, protector of the twins. But this is something that we don't really have any expectations other than like Andor being like doing nasty things that he mentioned in Rogue One. He's like, you have no idea what I've done, and we're gonna see what he's done. So like he's gonna put like the power behind those words that he had in Rogue One.
I think a lot of people are really wanting to see that extra side of the Resistance. I mean, of being able to see the rebellion, of just being like how dark it can get to achieve your goal.
Yeah.
And I think that even at like, it's something that I really want to be to get into people's heads, because that's another talking point at like Galaxy's Edge, is that you have the First Order and you also have the Resistance, but both of them are playing a role that's not helpful to the actual planet of Batuu.
That is such a good comparison, because I remember watching the beginning of Rogue One, and you see the guy climbing out, and then he's like, I'm never gonna be able to climb out of here without because of my arm. And then Cassian's like, don't worry, it'll be all right. And he shoots him in the back, and you're like, this is a good guy. He just like, it was like, whoa. So we are definitely gonna see the darker side of the rebellion, and I think this is something that a lot of people have been wanting to see. And from the trailers, we not only did we get to see the darker side of different things. You know what? I lost track.
It's weird for me being able to, because in the movie, I want to say, how many points would you say that there actually was something that was dark on screen that you saw that he did? That I can remember, it's going to be when he shoots the guy in the back, and it's going to be when he tries to shoot Galen Erso. Those are the only two times.
Yeah, those are like the two primary times that I'd say his morals were tested. And I think that just goes to show that at the beginning of the film, that was prior to him meeting Jyn Erso. Mm-hmm. And it was prior to her challenging his beliefs and the things that he did for freedom. And Jyn introduced to him to a less hostile, less aggressive, demonic, dark form of just representing freedom and trying your best to survive and fight for your rights.
And it's kind of funny because I think it might be a lot of a part of Forrest Whitaker's character's issue, because we see how he treats other people, and it's not not good as well, but they're both working together.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Ooh, pretty girl, let's burn up together in the sun." But no, I think that's just like a story plot that the writers came up with. With him going from some of this like antagonist that you think he is at the beginning of the film to more of a protagonist on side by side with Jyn Erso, that she, like I said, introduced him to this whole idea. But like at the beginning, he kills somebody, he does it without remorse, doesn't care. Yeah. He's doing it for a mission. He's doing it for good cause. So it doesn't matter because the ends justify the means. And then Jyn comes out of nowhere and she's like, the ends do not justify the means. There is a lot more that goes into it, and it affects a lot of other people. It's not just you that's at stake here.
Yeah, Saul Guerrero is like that too, though, because he uses that. I forget what that creature's called to interrogate the guy.
Mole gullet.
Is that what it's called?
Mole gullet.
Yeah.
Something gullet, bro. Something gullet.
Yeah. Well, if David was here, he would say it because him and James love that character for some reason. Well, I'm excited to see Coruscant. And in the trailer we actually saw a lot of Coruscant, and we haven't gone back like fully where we're exploring different scenes and different aspects of Coruscant since Revenge of the Sith. Like we saw, those Order 66 scenes, but I'm talking about like actual different perspectives of live action of Coruscant, and we're finally gonna get that. And I think the show will be a little bit political, because it has to kind of show you what the Senate was like after the fall of the Republic. And I think that's definitely going to play a decent part of the show. And we'll probably see Bail. We'll definitely see Palpatine. I would be surprised if we didn't. And it's just going to be interesting because this isn't the only time that we'll see Coruscant this year. We'll see it in Bad Batch season 2, and we'll actually see the Senate as well, because in that one shot it shows Omega kind of looking out, and then you see Palpatine there. So I am very excited for that.
Mm-hmm.
What are you expecting to see with Palpatine? Like is he gonna make like a small cameo? He's gonna be in multiple episodes. What do you think his plot will be?
I know Ian McDermott's saying he wants to play the character as much as he can.
I wouldn't doubt that he pops up in like a hologram kind of thing.
Oh yeah. I was kind of expecting him to show up in Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he did, and I was like, awesome, cool. Like, and it wasn't. To me, that cameo wasn't forced. It wasn't overplayed or anything. It was just him on the phone with him. I was like, all right, cool.
He's on the phone.
Yeah. He was like, dude, you failed again. Come on, bro. Come on.
He's like, Mom, get off the other line. Talking to Palpy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was a tasteful little cameo for him. I don't think any more was necessary. But maybe it would be better. And maybe we'd actually get to see how Palpatine interacts with the Senate. Because I remember at the beginning of New Hope, when they talked about how they like gave like more powers to Palpatine, and like he's like, the Senate will never go for this. And I was like, you don't have to worry about them. I took care of them. But like the relationship that existed prior to, what are you talking about?
Oh, for me, it was super funny to see him at the end of Revenge of the Sith, of where he's like, where he was like, the attack on my life has made me mentally scarred. And I was just like, dude.
He's like, now I'm gonna rule over the galaxy with my
I'm just like, bro,
yeah.
that is so like over the top.
No one wanted to red flag this guy.
Yeah.
Even Padme was like, this is how democracy dies.
With thunderous applause.
But like, you don't want to like, I don't know, say something.
But for Andor, we actually did talk about this on Sunday, but I wanted
Sunday.
So this right here isn't like official by Disney. Someone made this and kind of like did the math and everything for all the episodes of when they're like, because there's supposed to be 12, and then these are the dates lined up, and then these are the actual like writers and directors and everything.
Oh my god, watch them skip like one of those days and ruin that schedule.
It's funny. This entire series was my least hyped up one, and now I think it's becoming the one I'm most excited for.
Do we think this is going to be darker than The Mandalorian?
I would assume so.
I'm hoping
if they want to.
How dark is The Mandalorian to you? What about it is super dark?
So I thought that it's not that it was darker. I just feel like the theme of it was more adult themed than other Star Wars projects. And then we got to Kenobi. Like I was like, all right.
Bounty Hunter babysitter.
That's what that show's about. Cool. And then I was thinking that the Book of Boba Fett was gonna be, super dark, and then I was like, not as, not really to me, essentially, except for the parts of where, like, he was dealing with his past. But this one seems like it will be dark 24/7. I don't think there will be that many light moments. And Obi-Wan Kenobi, there were some light moments, but in Andor, I think there's going to be it will be dark 24/7. I don't think there will be.
I'm completely happy with them going in a serious tone, though.
Yeah,
that's great.
Not like a rated R tone, right, Josh? Because
stop. No. No. Okay. How do we feel about the timeline, though? You've got season 1, which will take place 5 years before the Battle of Yavin. And I guarantee in the first couple episodes, we'll see some flashbacks. And then you got season 2, where it will take place over 4 years. And the last episode would lead directly into the events of Rogue One.
It's going to be him like running, and they're going to say why he shot the dude. You watch. It's going to be something like that.
Oh, man.
Oof. We'll see.
Yeah. Are we expecting any cameos from characters that appeared in Star Wars Rebels? Do you
I thought you
think
were going to say something about Max Rebo. I'm not going to lie.
No, and honestly, I wasn't going to mention a Max Rebo, but now that you mention him,
oh no,
who would you think? Because I honestly think the closest one that you're going to get to is Cal Kestis.
I would think
he's not
Hera.
Rebels, but I think Hera is like one of the
Hera and Chopper would be the biggest one because Hera's
would be hilarious.
Yeah, Hera's already appearing in the Ahsoka series, so it would make sense if they were like, well, since we used Hera for Andor, we can put her into Ahsoka. So
have you seen that? Have you seen her in live action yet? Because of Celebration,
we saw the back of her head.
We saw her head.
We saw her. We saw a glimpse of Zeb. We saw the back of and kind of the front of Sabine.
What did Zeb look like then?
To be honest, because it went so fast and I wasn't looking for Zeb, but then like people like took screenshots from there and like I looked closely and I was like, oh, it's Zeb, but it was like really, really blurry, so I couldn't justify it. But
I hope it's better than She-Hulk.
That's a character that okay. That's a character that I'm excited to see live action because that was the original design that Ralph McQuarrie came up with for
Chewbacca.
Yeah, for Chewie. And then they were like, no, that's way too crazy for live action. How do we do something else? And then then they brought him in Star Wars Rebels. And I was like, okay.
Here we go.
And I was like, cool. How are you going to do that in live action? So apparently he is in. If he's not voiced by Stephen Bloom, I'm going to be upset because he brought that character to life and he did such a good job doing it.
I think Cal Kestis meeting that team would be pretty funny because he would be he's the same species as his master.
Yeah.
Because Zeb's the same species as his master.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really funny.
Those are the only 2 times we've ever seen those species ever.
Those only 2 times?
I don't think they're anywhere else in canon unless they're like hidden in the background somewhere, like in a crowd, which they do a lot. Which is oddly enough where like Star Wars people get the idea for new species. They're like, oh, it already exists. We'll just pull it out of this crowd, this weird sketch, make it a character.
But yeah,
right.
So I am very excited for the series. It comes out on August 31st. We are still actually, and then we're still waiting on D23, which is happening on September 10th. And the other show that's coming out right after that, the premiere of Andor, is The Bad Batch. And that is definitely I love the fact that we are good that we will be getting a lot of overlapping Star Wars stuff.
We're gonna get
happening.
3 overlapping television shows.
Yeah, because there's that
Tales of the Jedi.
Tales of the Jedi as well. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Tales of the Jedi, Bad Batch, and Andor will all be releasing
overlapping each other. Time. Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shoot.
Mm-hmm. For at least a solid month. I think like the month of October, all of them will be coming at the same time.
That's gonna be crazy, bro. I'm excited for that. But yeah,
we'll have some good Patreon content.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just us talking out of our butts about Star Wars, man.
That's honestly what this podcast is, bro.
You caught me. But new
today,
Star Wars content.
Yeah. So today, we posted on our Instagram. Did you post on the Discord, Josh, or no?
About what?
Because you said you were of the question.
Oh no, I didn't.
The question of the day.
And the question of the day was,
how many coconuts can you fit in a gallon?
What is your favorite or underrated Star Wars character and why? And we actually got a lot of questions that were submitted. I mean, not questions, answers. No, actually, over 20.
That's great.
Yeah, because it was last minute. But we are going to pick some of our favorites. I will pick the first one, and I think I know which one that Josh will pick. But for me, it was Ponda Baba, because he's mad buff. That was that was their whole description. So I mean, that was by Star Wars Sessions. So yeah, there you go. There's that one. Josh,
wait, are we just sharing ours first, or
no? Okay. Like, because for example, people know what
I got mine like queued up and ready to go.
Oh, cool. What was the okay? What's the subspecies of his species?
Of what?
There's like two. So he's like his species is like the evolved version of the other spiders that you see in Clone Wars. I'm almost for sure. Like he has two. There's two different sides of like his species. I'm almost.
Who are you talking about? You're not talking about Max Rebo, are you?
No, Ponda Baba.
Okay, there we go. I was so confused. I was like, "What?"
Not in Max Rebo.
I was like, "What?"
Not everything is about Max.
Two-legged
and not a diaper. So there's that. Well, I assume I don't really want to.
Yeah, no, his character was interesting to me. I don't think I don't think both of their stories are canon anymore. But his friend, the doctor guy, where he's like, "Oh, you better watch yourself." He's
that was pretty good.
He was wanted for he was a serial killer in Star Wars, and he did different Frankenstein experiments, and he was wanted by some of the crime families and everything because of how messed up he was. But that was legend, so I don't think it's canon anymore.
It's treason then.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So there is 3 subspecies of them.
Interesting. Whoop. Hi.
So
what the heck?
So yeah, Eklish have 3 subspecies.
I think I might have hit something else.
Different subspecies.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like that spider one that you see in Clone Wars. I forget which one that's actually called.
That spider guy.
Wait,
yeah, there's like the 4-eyed one, and then there's the one that we know.
Oh, like Admiral Trench.
Oh, yeah. Are you talking about the Aqualish?
Yes.
There we go. Okay, I was gonna be like, okay,
that's the one. Sense. That's the one.
Here is another one. No like reason why or anything. I just thought it was fine, but just Zuckuss. That's it.
And Admiral Trench, that spider guy,
because he looks like a bug.
His species
Bug's
is called
bounty hunter.
A harch. Like
oh yeah,
that's Admiral Trench.
So if you just search up bug bounty hunter, does he come up?
Well, let's find out.
Now this is Star Wars stuff.
Bug bounty hunter.
Yes, Star Wars. Yes.
Yes.
It's like when you search up Dinosaur Jedi.
Oh yeah. Look.
He does come up.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
The second one is Forlom, which he was also in that scene too. But yeah,
Star
no,
Wars
I was hoping
Dinosaur
that
Jedi.
we would have gotten more live action, like more of the classic bounty hunters, like in Book of Boba Fett, like Bosk and Dengar, and we never got them. And I think that was a wasted opportunity.
Oh yeah, dude. I think
Yeah.
Bosk would have been the number one easy pick.
I loved seeing Black Krrsantan, but I think Bosk would have gotten more love. Because of his character has grown, like the love for that character has grown a lot over the years, and I think if he was in Book of Boba,
and his species just absolutely hating Wookiees would have been cool.
Right. And on top of that, his backstory ties directly to Boba.
That's true.
Him and Boba like kind of made names for themselves.
Ah, you son of a cloner.
Yeah, together. So I'm hoping that we see him in the near future in live action. And then speaking of Bosk, I guarantee there's I'm looking through. I think I saw one from Hunter earlier. Oh, here we go. He said, Jedi Hunter, aka Hunter, said Bosk, and then he says, why? And he said that manners are their own reward, and I guarantee that's a Bosk quote. He's obsessed with Bosk right now.
Right now,
that's his thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone said, here we go. That underscore Florida underscore guy said Vi loved her story during the Black Spire book. She's the person with the blue hair.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
I feel like she should be okay.
That Florida guy.
I think that brings back more of this our major points where we like Resistance ended right at the wrong time, where we never got to see Batu in a show.
I know, and
we never got to see there's no Batu in a video game. There's no Batu. The only media you're gonna find it is books, and I think comic books.
I know, and it's a disappointment because people would be over the moon about that. I think people
they'd be over the spire about that.
No, I think if they added Black Spire to Resistance and they ended up going there, I think that would have made the show more worth watching.
Well, you don't know. There's a lot of Star Wars coming out soon. Maybe Black Spire will make an appearance.
And this is something that we actually talked about on Sabak Talk, and it was that I thought that the show was good. I think it ended too early, and that's how a lot of people feel. But I just felt like we didn't get enough time. That was my biggest thing about the entire series, is that we didn't get enough time to go through the whole story. And something that Jeff said on
Jeff Bezos.
That Jeff said on
I wish
on Sabak Talk was that as soon as they wrote that they were going to Batu to, get fuel for their ship, they were like, okay, now we have to kind of wrap up the story, because I don't think they wanted to put that into show, because I don't think they were ready for that.
They ain't ready for this. Sorry.
So I'm hoping that we do get that in live action soon, very soon.
Oh yeah, for real.
You guys live it every day, so it's different for you.
Yeah.
Right? Every day you live in it.
It's every day, but it's like, hey, give some more substance to the people that like actually want to come and check out the place. Like it's there in books and comics, but I feel like we've already and I feel like we've made this comment before, but it's like until it hits live action and screens, the majority of the people won't see it.
Right.
And
because
that
not everyone wants to read a comic. Not everyone wants to, read a book or go on Audible.
But I know when you read it in a book, you have to use your imagination to draw up what it looks like in your brain. You don't actually get to see it. And like if you wanted to read a book via Audible, if you want to go to audibletrial.com/Star Wars podcast, you can do that. Definitely do that. But if you hear it in a book, and some of the audiobooks that you see, they'll have like they have like cool like background noises and stuff like that. Like I'm not gonna mention the books because I can't read. But but yeah, I think having your own imagination of what it looks like isn't the greatest. And I do agree that A, they need to stop going to freaking Tatooine, and B, they need to give some light to other parts and corners of the galaxy. And being the fact that Disney could only benefit from this because they have a land dedicated to Batuu, what it looks like. So when they see it in live action, they'll be like, you just saw that on the TV screen? Now you can go there. Buy tickets now. And then influx of people to Disney World or Disneyland. So like marketing ploy, good marketing for a location. Also,
I mean, even if you put it in like, I know people that will blow off and don't even like animated stuff. Like I know people that haven't seen any of the Clone Wars, haven't seen any of the Bad Batch, but they've watched The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I don't talk to those people very often.
But I think if you want to really pop off with Batuu and you want to pop off with all that kind of stuff that's going on that planet, you would really have to put it in a live action.
Yeah, right. I almost couldn't even hang out with Mason just because he doesn't watch Lord of the Rings. But like, it's whatever. But people that can't like take in animated versions of Star Wars just because I only can do live action. Animated, it's not realistic for me. And I was like,
now that we're on that subject, it's funny because we do have Boba and Fennec at Disneyland's Galaxy's Edge, and they are roaming around a certain part of the land, which means in canon, somewhere in the timeline, they have been there. And then later this winter.
Oh, you really want to open this can of worms right now?
This
is a whole other podcast.
Yeah, is when Mando and Grogu will be there. So during
but they're going to stay in this corner. So only this corner is this timeline.
Right. Because they are telling that story of one of their adventures during like the timeline of the Mandalorian in Book of Boba. So at some point, we know we go there. So I just think it's interesting on how they're going to explain it. I'm very curious.
They won't explain it. They're going to tell you to just close your mouth, that the mouse will hurt you or something. I don't know.
Honestly, I just think it's like a thing that they did over in California for the Marvel side. It's like, hey, we have this an alternate reality, alternate dimension, or whatever, and we're gonna do whatever we want here. And
the multiverse explains everything nowadays. Like, why is this the way it is? Oh, multiverse. Why is that person still alive? Oh, multiverse.
But they're not doing that in Star Wars.
But here's the thing: is I think that they just kind of were like, hey, you know what? Let's just give people what they want, because they don't have a launch bay over there. I'm almost for sure they don't.
No.
So that means that the only way you're going to be able to see these characters is going to be like actually at Batuu. So it makes sense in my mind where they're like, hey, you know what? Let's just have this as a celebration for Star Wars and everything there is Star Wars. Like you're on a planet, sure, but you're going to be able to see the characters that you actually want. You kind of get the air quotes best of both worlds in that sense. But if you're a diehard fan that can't have any of that kind of stuff walking around, you still have Florida's option because you also have.
And I know that because like Disneyland, they have a large difference in numbers in terms of like people that visit every year or at one specific time. And it's a smaller park, so they're much more relaxed in terms of like characters walking out and about amongst the crowd. Mm-hmm. But like if you were to like have like Sleeping Beauty or Cinderella walking around Magic Kingdom, it gets swarmed. They would get trampled. And I think but that doesn't really apply to Galaxy's Edge because it's just this cut off. Like separate, it almost feels like a separate park inside of a park almost because it's just so secluded that I think they should make a Star Wars exception. That they kind of did it before with like over by the Star Tour stage where they would have like the Jedi training. So they've done it before. They have the ability to, and they're not doing it. I don't know why they're not doing it here, but they're doing it in Disneyland. I don't get it. I thought it had something to do with
there are a lot of exclusives that they have, which we're not going to talk about. But
yeah, you can't get too far into it, but I can.
Yeah,
just kidding. I don't know anything.
No, it's
we're starting to trickle on down of what California has comparatively to us.
Yeah,
which is
I don't want you guys to
really
cross
cool,
any lines with
because
we're
getting
like that.
We just got the new coins in, and I'm really appreciative that we actually have like the currency, because
galactic credits.
They had released that over in, because this is also over in Orlando. They have credits at their store over at the Guardians place. So Guardians of the Galaxy has their own kind of Xanadu credits, and I was like, I wonder why we don't have that at Galaxy's Edge. Literally like a week later, boom, they were there. So I'm glad to have that there. It's pretty fun seeing those passed around.
And at some point, we are going to be getting the new Bounty Hunter experience, which is going to be coming out exclusively at Hollywood Studios. That's not going to Disneyland anytime soon.
They should get like some virtual reality like experience at Galaxy's Edge, kind of like they do at Disney Springs. You tried it, right? I think they should try that out, because VR is like the new thing around here. 4D, but like
VR isn't canon though.
See, that's another issue that you're kind of running into.
Neither is rotating platforms with multiple.
So when you go to Doc Ondar's and he's selling you lightsabers, like, what are you actually buying?
Scrap metal.
Like, is it like a scrap metal like version of a lightsaber that he knows about?
The real question is, where are they getting the kyber crystals? Because those exist in one place, and to get a kyber crystal is an extremely brutal process. So how does a non-force wielder mine for kyber crystals, you may ask? Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
So we should go talk to Doc about that. That would be a cool question to ask them, to watch them like fluster and in pain trying to come up with an answer. Yeah, I love messing with cast members like that. Okay. You do too, Colin. Where are you from? Indiana.
That was before I worked there, and that was during the pandemic. Our friend Sam and I like walked up to someone and we're like, "Hey, what planet are you from?" And they were like, "Indiana."
I'm not dissing the state of Indiana in any way whatsoever.
No,
that is a completely different planet, here, actually. Sorry,
Mr. and Mrs. and Sir's audiences.
So
you understand.
So we gave him another chance, and then it was like the city of where I'm from, Indiana, and we were just.
You want to try again?
I was like, all right, man. He's not into it. I was like, come on.
He's like, I've never heard of the planet Indiana.
Yeah.
He's like, it's not a planet, idiot. It's a state.
Yeah. No, it's.
Guy. I bet he like turned around after you walked away at one of his coworkers and like, what the heck was that about? And she just like face palms and like shake my head. I swear.
Oh, Matt, we missed you here on the Star Stuff podcast.
If that guy got like a cat complaint because of you,
I didn't.
It would be but a bad day for him.
Why? Oh, okay. All right. Anyways,
were we talking about something?
Yes, we were, and you just went off on your own rant.
Hey, I went off on some Star Wars stuff tangents, which means it's within our bounds. Yeah.
Here's another one by Z Nets, which I believe is Zach from Grand Rapids.
It is Z Nets.
He said, "I think Dooku is underrated due to us not knowing a lot about him. Jedi Lost is amazing." Well, we are getting Tales of Tales of the Jedi, and that will have a whole story arc about Dooku.
Yeah, and he'll still have a head in that. So it's
and his fall to the dark side. What are you on today? Like
I'm on nothing except for life and excitement.
Speaking of Dooku, look at what Josh got today.
Oh, look at that! Wow.
You need to log into our Twitch or our YouTube or on Facebook Live to see this video. If you're streaming on podcast, you need to go there. Colin, if you could go ahead and point that out to our audience real quick. go on our Facebook here, or you can go.
What are you on today? Okay.
I'm on nothing. I'm just trying to promote our podcast on different platforms, and you're just yelling at me.
Well,
Dang,
you're just random ranting. Was just like where?
Well,
like, okay.
you got to remember, Colin.
I got a lightsaber over at.
We are interacting with a visual audience at this moment.
It's really cool. I got Count Dooku's lightsaber over at Galaxy's Edge. It's very well made. I really like it.
Have you poked yourself with that tip in the end?
I know, right? It's kind of funny how serious these are, and they can't just say these aren't for kids, but these really aren't for kids.
No,
it's not gonna fit in your hand. It's if you throw this at someone, you're gonna hurt them. Like the entire spike is metal.
It's not an if. It's not an if.
Yeah, it is.
Those will hurt.
You know, some kid's gonna run around and be like, "Wow, like, dude, it's so rough."
Make them sign like an NDA or something. I don't know when they sell those. Also, I don't think I'd buy my kid like a $200 lightsaber for no reason like that. Yeah.
Well, that's Florida. I think that's 99% of the people do that.
Well, that's a statement about the state of Florida. Back to Star Wars stuff.
Asajj Ventress, her reaction at the end of Clone Wars is unmatched. And I mean her reception. That was by
reaction. Which one?
That was by M. Tomlinson 19.
She's definitely one of those characters that I think translated amazingly well from the Tarnovsky. I think is that his name?
Yeah.
Or the original Clone Wars. The Samurai. I always say just Samurai Jack Clone Wars because she's from that.
Samurai Jack.
That's the best way I can describe it. It's the Samurai Jack Clone Wars. And they bringing her character over into Clone Wars, I was like, wow, they translated that really well. And I think we all think that we wish that the Grievous in the Clone Wars for the Samurai Jack version was the one that we got on screen.
I just wish I could see Asajj Ventress with a wig on. I want to see what that looks like.
She has hair on the book.
And she actually does have hair. Yeah. Yep. She has hair in that. She actually has hair in her flashbacks.
All right, she's got that little comb over.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, all the stress of being a Sith made her lose it, probably. I don't know. Maybe. What do you guys think? How'd she get rid of it? You think she shaved it off or it just came off?
And then this one is the one that I know Joshua will really like, and it's by Andrew Gladkowski. Definitely Grease from Fallen Order. He's a caring guy from Jersey who likes to gamble.
Not Jersey.
Hey, I mean, he would be pretty funny to. I mean, he's gonna most likely show up in the next one because he's not dead.
No,
and it's gonna be it'll be interesting because like the ship is destroyed in the trailer that we see.
Yeah,
which makes you wonder what we're gonna have from there on. I'd love to see like a little bit more of his backstory of why he's so untrustworthy or like how they met each other and that kind of thing. But
I'd love that ship. As soon as I saw it in the game, I was like, I want a model of that. That's cool.
So did everyone feel like they felt the same way about the Razor Crest, and then they made a Lego set, and it was like, oh wow, great! And then as soon as they made the Lego set, the episode came up, and they blew it up. That is the best. I was like, wow, money well spent. No longer
that comment that we made on the night that we were like, yeah, you're like, finally, you built it in like one night. You're like, I can't wait for your newest episode, and then it like turns on, and you're like,
and then David bought like the HasLab version of it.
That's what it is.
Oh no,
he's like, look at this cool new ship, and I was like, oh, I love that.
He spent $100 on that, $800, and I was like, oh man. And then they were like, guess what? It's blown up now. It was like, that's great.
That's amazing.
Wow.
You what?
So they don't have a Lego. They actually don't have any Lego Jedi Fallen Order stuff except a BD unit that came with the new Lego Naboo Starfighter that Mando has.
That's BD-71, right?
Yeah, I really hope they name it soon because I'm tired of calling it that. It's like cool. It's like N1 Starfighter. How about like? How about the That you know what? What?
Okay. Why don't you
I just came up with a great topic for next week. What should Mando's new ship be called? There you
go. The Flying Saucer. I don't know.
The Hammerhead.
Wizard
of Oz.
It's just called the Wizard.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's the Wizard.
Is it the white or the gray one?
Oh,
no, it's silver.
No, I got it. I know you were saying Gandalf.
The Silver Surfer.
No.
Oh, that's already in. Never mind. Well, Josh, what's your favorite underrated Star Wars character? Since we already know Collins, it's kind of like our mascot a little bit.
Salacious Crumb.
Really? Why?
Yes. Because Monkey Lizard. I think I want to know more about his story. I want to know how he met Jabba. That's all I really care about.
Every time I hear him laugh, I just want to I imagine myself.
You just want to punch him?
I know. I imagine myself
across the wall.
cherry bombing him across the field. Just like just gone out of here. Well, mine's Dexter. Dexter Jetsetter. He's been my favorite since I ever saw him in Attack of the Clones.
Of course.
He's my favorite.
That's the first.
I actually just love that whole species, and we only see him one other time in Clone Wars, which is awesome. It sucks that
you get a slob version of him, and then you get like an ultra lightsaber version of him. There's the only two versions.
Oh my god, that dude is so beast mode. If he wasn't if he didn't switch over, I would love to see him in a before he was corrupted by the Sith. I want to see a version of him before he was a terrible person. Because I just think that that's awesome. Him having two double wielded lightsabers, and he stands up at 7 feet tall with 4 arms, and he's ripped, and he's got his Jedi robes, and it's so cool. I love his the only armor he needs is some 4-arm guards and some fist guards that you see on Kenobi. I just
Pong Krell was this very interesting Jedi that I was like, oh, okay. And then as soon as he turned the clones against each other, I was like, I want this man punished for his crimes.
I want his head on my wall.
Yeah, I was like, no, dude, you killed Waxer. Oh man, you don't do that. You don't.
I mean, but I think that story arc is in my top 3 of all Clone Wars. Is that when they're on that planet? I just love it more than I almost want to say any of the other plots that are in this Clone Wars. I don't know. I'd have to rewatch it for 60th time to nail that down, but I'd say it's in definitely top 3 at this point in time.
Yeah. I
can confirm that. It was so beautiful. So beautiful. And I love those guys with the egg-shaped heads with the they just talk so funny. Yeah. Their technology was super cool too.
Yeah.
I did appreciate that. Colin, do you have a runner-up for second underrated Star Wars character? If not, Maxi Pad Rebo.
Either Kit Fisto or either Kit Fisto or Plo Koon. Plo Koon was always my favorite Jedi growing up.
Plo Koon's pretty great.
Because his character was very interesting, and on top of that, he's the only Jedi Master that actually defeated Yoda in a saber duel. And then he could, and this is something a lot of people have been talking about recently. I don't know why, but he also has something called the Force Judgment, which was
yellow lightning.
Yeah. And using Force lightning was actually forbidden for Jedi to use. But
just like Force healing,
Plo Koon found that loophole and was like, technically this is not the same. So he used it a decent amount of times in Legends,
and that dude can exist for periods of times in the vacuum of space. What can't that guy do?
But oxygen is poisonous to him. That's why he wears the mask.
Yeah,
I think. But I was talking about more about the temperature difference and the pressure.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
I was like, those are a couple of key large aspects as to why people don't exist.
I mean, I would love to see him without his mask and his eye goggle things.
I think it would be the same as the
Those
Tusken
are it.
Raiders. I always wanted to see a Tusken
Yeah,
Raider.
it is like Tusken Raiders, but their like mouth is like inwards, like
like the Predator or something.
Yeah,
but
well,
I heard a joke one day that like one day he was suntanning with those little tiny sunbathing goggles, and then his eyebrows folded over top of him. No,
they just got stuck there.
Yeah, he got stuck with his sunbathing goggles on. Yeah, he's kind of like Spider-Man. He needs it. He needs something to hone in his senses because he has sensory overload when it's everything. He needs like little fellas.
Right. So I'm hoping one day that we get to see a Tusken Raider without his mask, and then we also get to see Plo Koon's species as well. And something else which I was really hoping that they would have has nothing to do with Tusken Raiders or Plo Koon species, but it would be Jabba's son.
Zero?
Not
that's
Zero.
That's his
uncle.
Yeah. The one that was rescued in the Clone Wars film.
Yeah, I forget what the name of it is.
Stinky? Was it Rada?
Stinky.
It's something stupid.
That's what Ahsoka called it.
Yeah.
But it had a name. I don't know. I watched that episode like 2 days ago.
And they just never talked about him again. Like he was nothing. And it's like, Jabba's pretty old in Return of the Jedi. And then his son is a lot younger than him. Why isn't he in the...
Yeah, why is he not the Major Domo? Why did he get to like succeed that? And maybe we're gonna find out in like a year that he actually like died.
Yeah, I think that's how they might explain it. Because if you watch the Book of Boba Fett, you're like, oh, okay, there are New Hudson Town, and then they
peace out.
There
goes the neighborhood.
Well, they created the twins for the show. They like never existed. You didn't know who they were until they showed up in the show, and you were like, "Oh,
they made like a tiny little cameo," and they're like, "You know what? You can have it. We're good. We're out."
Yeah,
but that's pretty cool that they made 2 new characters from the.
I was right. Clan. His name is Rada.
Rada Dugi Amanada.
But we actually don't know what happened to him. It's really interesting.
It doesn't list it there in the canonology of it. On Wikipedia. Is how you pronounce it? Wikipedia?
The only thing that we know is that he was returned to Jabba, and Dooku tried to blame the Jedi, and then
I was there. I remember. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
I remember that it was yesterday. Well, that's cool.
As you guys can see, there's not a lot Star Wars news happening right now. We are in mid Star Wars season right now. We are not.
You guys already talk about the nominations?
That was the first thing we talked about. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yep. So,
cool.
but
great.
we have a lot of content coming out on our
Patreon.
We've been actually dumping content on there, actually.
Yeah.
We've been having an all-out dump over there, bro. Just piling it on. As much content as possible.
And Mason is actually recording the other chapters of the Brotherhood.
Back on the show.
Yeah. So they are...
Mason?
Yeah. He was a great guest, and I really hope that we have him on again.
I love that our like Star Wars Stuff podcast like logo is just on Obi-Wan right there. It's great.
I didn't make that. It was
I didn't do that. It wasn't me.
It's someone else.
It's a watermark.
But we got a lot of great feedback about Sabak Talk, and our friends from the Talk with Your Mouth Full podcast were great, and we are going to have them on again for the next episode of Sabak Talk, so stay tuned for that. We have a bunch of unboxing videos coming your guys' way on there. There's a lot of
what that means, right?
Toys.
Potential giveaways
for our top tier
giveaways. What tier is that? The black Kyber? Yeah. Yeah. 66.
What are you on?
He's on a whole bunch of spice, boys.
Yeah. Jeez. Okay. All right. Is there anything else that we would like to
No. I'm gonna go record my nonchalant random stuff podcast so I can talk about other things on there.
Cool. All right. Well, we're on Instagram at Star Stuff Podcast. We're on Twitter at Stuff Pod.
Yeah,
we're
let's
on
go
TikTok.
Twitter.
We're Star Stuff Podcast. We're on
Yo,
Facebook.
TikTok.
We have a lot of
that
fun
mean?
On the facey.
Please email us at starstuffpodcast@gmail.com. And
Our
we're on
Gmail,
Audible.
yo.
Matt, talk about Audible.
The audibletrial.com/stuff podcast, where you can get all of your reading needs read to you. You can listen to it in the car, at the gym, in the classroom, when you should be learning. You can do it at the pool if you have those cool waterproof, cool little headphones. You can do it anywhere you need it. At the most convenience, Audible's for you. Do it at audibletrial.com/stuff podcast.
That wasn't even scripted, dude. Good job.
On the top of my head.
Write a review and give us, an honest review on Apple Podcasts.
Preferably 5 stars.
Go on our YouTube. Go on our website, stuffpodcastnetwork.com. We're also on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of fun on there.
Ewok hunt. I can smell it now.
Yep.
It smells like burning indoor.
That's the dream. So, guys, from all of us here at the Star Stuff Podcast, we love you all. Don't worry, more Star Stuff is on the way, and may the Force be with you
Always.
Always.
Hang on, baby.